and welcome to the daily reading for all signs for today, the 22nd of November, 2024. This is Ariel Gatoga, and today I am reading with the Tarot Grand Luxe. Let's purify with this Alvarez Gomez cologne. 3 sprays in this big room is more than sufficient. I put links to purchase these products right in the video description of this video on my YouTube channel. Let's see what's in the cards for everybody today. Starting out with the 8 of Wands, followed by the 6 of Swords, and then we have the Pope card, Hierophant, sometimes called. In this deck it's called that. So this is all about, the Pope card is all about authority figures that appear to be outside of us. And frequently it's a way of alerting us to our own feelings of powerlessness and asking us to rethink that. Because if you think you're powerless, you don't have access to your power. I mean, you do potentially, but it's as if it's not there because you already decided you're powerless. So when this comes up, it's time to start rethinking that and asking yourself, what is it that I truly believe about whatever this power is? Now, this can represent whatever that means to you. For some people, it's boss or politician or government agency. Some people, it's the phone company or, the electric company, whatever that big behemoth is that seems to have all the power and you have none. This 6 of Swords is talking about having a complete and utter resolution with some conflict that may have been happening. And the 8 of Wands is talking about how a lot of that just came to an end very suddenly. And so when that came to an end very suddenly, now you're grappling with this idea of this power, this powerlessness, this whatever this power structure outside of you is. I thought I dropped a card, but I didn't. So, it's like out of the frying pan into the fire. And I think that that's what the ego likes to do a lot, is we resolve something wonderful happens. And sometimes we get like 5 minutes if we're lucky, and then we're on to the next thing, the next reason why we can't be happy, the next big issue, the next problem. And I'm opening this reading up because I have a feeling that's what the whole tenor of the reading is not being on the problem wheel. We've got the 4 of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the World card. Yeah, this is a whole different sort of alternate reality up on this top panel here. The 4 of Cups is all about a spiritual practice. The Page of Cups is constantly being in tune with the good news, and the World card is the fact that you're a winner and nothing can touch you. So it's like the two realities don't blend, and the vision of one world costs you the vision of the other. So you're either constantly on the treadmill of problem after problem after problem, or you're living above it. You're above the battlefield looking down on it and not involved in it. And that's what you're being called on to do today, is to rise above this, whatever this is, and realize that it has no power over you. Whatever this Pope is, it has no power over you. It may seem to within the storyline. It may even really convince you that it's true. But if you lean into that spiritual practice, if you call upon that inner guidance and inspiration, you'll recognize that you have the winning hand and nothing can touch you. So whatever this is, as long as you are assuming that it's super big and super powerful and there's nothing that you can do about it, that's how it's going to be. But it doesn't need to be that way, because according to this reading, you already have all the power. You already have the winning hand and nothing can touch you. And that you actually exist on a plane that is high above whatever this wheel of problems seems to be spinning on. Now, I want to talk about the wheel of problems here because you've done so well, it's saying, in moving out of one issue or maybe a bunch of issues. And it's almost like, it is. It's the solar light, that that Six of Swords is where the divine design shines through. And because the divine design is shining through rather than your ego's plot, then everything balances out, rearranges itself, and gets solved. And then your ego says, oh, that's so nice. Let's do another one. Because the ego is very happy having another one and another one. It's like a potato chip. It can't just have one. It needs more. And then the ego is so sly and cunning, it convinces us that that's we who want the problems, that want another potato chip. And we're not. We don't want that. We want to exist on this upper plane of peace. And the ego tries to convince us, no, you don't want that because it's so boring. Can you imagine if you don't have any tension and release, if you don't have any protagonist and antagonist? What a horrible story that would be if everything was just peaceful and wonderful all the time. No, you need the drama. You need the drama. So from the ego's point of view, the only good that can come out of resolving a conflict is that it gives you an opportunity to start a new one. Whereas the soul doesn't see things that way at all. The soul sees, it's like the soul is someone in the movie watching the movie. It's entertained by it. It loves, it loves the experience of just being, right? So if there's these problems coming and going and coming and going, it's not like the soul is in turmoil. It's just watching it. It doesn't have a judgment on it. But the ego does have a judgment on it. And the ego doesn't want us to just watch it. Because if we just watch it, then we recognize that it's not real. And if we recognize that it's not real, we might choose against it and decide for something else. And then where does that leave the ego? It leaves the ego as what it really is, nothing. So it's a very important lesson today to when the world is dangling the carrot of here's another problem, insurmountable, by the way. Oh, no way that you can solve this one. To recognize that from the point of view of the spirit, from the point of view of the soul, that's not true. Everything is solvable. Actually, there is no problem. All the problems already have been solved. And so you can lean into that solar light over and over and over again. And you're encouraged to do that. Lean into that solar light. If you don't know how to do the solar light, you can just search YouTube for Gatoga solar light. There's a couple very brief meditations so that you can activate that for yourself. And the more that you're on that beam, then things tend to resolve themselves. But it's the whole bottom line of this reading is getting out of the process of resolving a problem so that you can start another one, and then resolving that problem so you can start another one, and resolving that problem so you can start another one. The world operates that way, but you don't need to. You're being encouraged to learn how to notice the problems as they come and go, and observe everything as it happens, but without taking it so personally, without believing in it as much. Instead, you're being encouraged to place your faith in the solar light itself, which is the divine design of your soul. And that divine design of your soul is what this Page of Cups brings you back as good news. When you're doing that spiritual practice, when you're doing your meditations, whatever you do, the inner guide that you have is never about, oh, watch out for this. Oh, be careful of that. Disaster, duck, cover. It's not that at all. It's all about what the good news is. How wonderful you are. How everything is working out for you. How beautiful everything is. How much better everything is getting. Right? And so what we listen to, what we put our attention on, is what we tend to start seeing expanding in our objective reality, because that's how the mind works. And so when we can discipline ourselves to listen to that still small voice within us that's only got good news, and a lot of it, a never-ending source and supply of good news, when we can discipline ourselves to listen to that voice, then that voice starts to have data that are reflected in our objective experience. But when we only listen to the voice that's saying, okay, we got to resolve this conflict, and then there's another one on its way. We got to resolve this conflict, there's another one on its way. We get this false sense of power. Like, see, look how good I'm getting at solving problems. Yeah, on one hand, that's true. But on the other hand, that same action of mind is also setting the stage for the next one. Because what it wants is a constant problem factory. It doesn't really want you to stay resolved. It doesn't want you to be at peace. It's fine for problems to be solved and for things to get resolved from the point of view of the ego, as long as what that means is that that a new one is on its way. Right? So this is a wonderful day to sit and ask for inspiration and guidance about how to listen for the good news, no matter what seems to be happening, not judging by appearances and not taking it for granted that the next problem is unsolvable, or that this authority figure is too big, or that it's a scary, it's a scary world, and the only thing that you have to do is duck and cover, all of that kind of stuff. Recognize that the power that can heal and solve your problems has already solved them, and that it can be a perpetual experience of being at peace, which seems like out of the question, especially when the ego has our attention all the time. That's not even a thing, because the ego will point to the world. Well, see, look, there's always a problem. There's always a problem. What are you talking about? You can't exist in peace. There's no such thing as that. So stop thinking like that. Of course it doesn't want you to think like that, because when you think like that, you start living like that. When you live like that, you don't need this ego anymore, or the ego becomes very light and nothing. So just be aware of the fact that a lot of times what we believe is our power, and that we're getting so good at solving something, is also the same, is something to question, because it can be that, but it can also just be the ego saying, no, we're going to just keep ourselves on this treadmill and we're never getting off of it. All right, very good. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. We'll see everybody for another daily reading tomorrow. Until then, blessed be.